All right, take a breath and listen closely. If you're over 60, this may affect you personally, and I'm not saying that lightly. Right now, at this very moment, there's a strong chance that something sitting on your nightstand or tucked inside your medicine cabinet could be quietly working against your memory. Not years from now, not someday in the distant future, but starting much sooner than most people ever imagine. These are medications trusted by doctors. Medications you may have been told are safe, necessary, or just part of getting older. And yet, growing medical evidence is showing that some of these very drugs may be silently accelerating memory loss, shrinking parts of the brain responsible for thinking, recalling names, and even recognizing loved ones. And here's the unsettling part. This isn't happening in far-off places or to a small group of people. This is happening right here in the United States, to seniors in California, Florida, New York, Texas, to retirees enjoying the sun in Palm Beach, to active grandparents in Scottsdale, to successful, well-educated adults in Beverly Hills, Naples, Austin, and Aspen who did everything right and trusted the system. Some of the medications we're talking about have been linked to increased dementia risk in under 12 months, not decades, months. And one medication on this list, just one, is taken every single day by millions of wealthy, active retirees who believe they're protecting their health without realizing what it may be doing to their brain. I know this sounds uncomfortable, maybe even hard to hear, but if staying mentally sharp matters to you, if remembering names, conversations, and moments with the people you love is important, then you're exactly where you need to be right now. Before we go any further, I want to hear from you. This helps more than you might think. Take a moment and leave a comment with your age and the state you're watching from. For example, 67, Scottsdale, Arizona, or 72, Naples, Florida. We truly read the comments here. And yes, we respond. And while you're thinking about that, let me ask you something important. Have you ever had one doctor sit down and review all of your medications together? Not just the ones they prescribed, but every pill, every supplement, every harmless over-the-counter drug you take? Most people haven't, and that's exactly why this conversation matters. You're not alone in this. Thousands of seniors just like you, from Palm Beach to Beverly Hills, from Aspen to Manhattan, watch this channel because they care deeply about staying independent, clear-minded, and informed. So stay with me, because what you're about to hear could change the way you look at your medications and could help protect something far more valuable than convenience or routine, your mind. And the reason we talk about this with such care is because this information doesn't come from rumors or internet gossip. Much of what you're about to hear is based on peer-reviewed research coming out of some of the most respected medical institutions in the country, places like Johns Hopkins, the Mayo Clinic, Harvard Medical School, UCLA. These are not fringe organizations. These are the same institutions your doctors trained at, the same names you see quoted when major health guidelines change. Researchers at these centers have spent years following older adults, people in their 60s, 70s, and 80s, tracking not just what medications they take, but how their thinking, memory, and brain structure change over time. We're talking long-term senior data, not quick surveys, brain scans, cognitive testing, real follow-ups over many years. And for those of you who like to read for yourselves, we believe in transparency. The research sources we reference are available for viewers who want to go deeper and see the data with their own eyes. Nothing here is meant to scare you blindly. It's meant to help you see clearly. Now, let's take this step by step. Let's start with number 7, a medication many seniors don't even think twice about. Number 7 is something you'll find in homes all across America. In California, retirement communities. In Florida, condos. In New York, apartments. In Texas, ranch homes. It's common. It's familiar. And because of that, it often feels harmless. We're talking about certain over the counter sleep and allergy medications that many retirees use regularly. Some people take them to help with seasonal allergies, others use them at night to fall asleep, and many have been taking them for years without ever being warned about long term effects. These medications are widely used among U.S. retirees because they don't require a prescription and they're often recommended casually. A pharmacist might suggest them. A friend might say, I've used this for years. And before you know it, it becomes part of your routine. Here's where the concern comes in. These medications work by calming certain signals in your body that cause allergies or keep you awake. But at the same time, they can interfere with a key chemical messenger in your brain that's essential for memory, learning, and clear thinking. When that messenger is blocked repeatedly, night after night, month after month, the brain doesn't communicate the way it should. Researchers in the US followed older adults who used these medications long term and compared them to seniors who didn't. What they found was troubling. Those who used them regularly showed faster memory decline and measurable changes in brain areas tied to learning and recall. Not immediately obvious at first, subtle, gradual, easy to dismiss as just aging. That's what makes this so dangerous. The early warning signs don't feel dramatic. You might forget names more often, lose your train of thought, struggle a bit more with focus. And because these changes happen slowly, most people never connect them to something as simple as a pill they take at night. This doesn't mean everyone who's ever taken one of these medications will develop dementia, but it does mean long-term frequent use deserves a second look, especially after 60. And if this is the first time you're hearing this, you're not behind. You're becoming informed. Many viewers tell us they wish they had known sooner, before years went by on autopilot. Staying connected to information like this helps you catch these warnings early before small risks quietly add up. And we're just getting started. And now let's move to number 6. This one is especially common among seniors living in high-income states and communities. Places like California, New York, Connecticut, Florida, and parts of Texas where healthcare access is excellent and long-term prescriptions are often continued year after year without much discussion. These medications are usually prescribed for chronic conditions, sometimes for mood, sometimes for pain, sometimes for sleep or nerve-related issues. They're not seen as emergency drugs. They're seen as maintenance medications, the kind you refill automatically, the kind that quietly becomes part of daily life. Over time, long-term use becomes normalized. You may have been taking this medication for 5 years, 10 years, longer, and because it didn't cause an obvious problem at the beginning, no one ever suggested revisiting the decision. But research following American seniors over multiple years has found that extended use of this class of medication is associated with changes in specific memory-related regions of the brain, areas involved in forming new memories, retrieving information, staying mentally flexible. In multi-year U.S. cohort studies, seniors who used these medications long-term showed a noticeably faster decline in memory performance compared to peers who weren't exposed, even after accounting for education level, income, and overall health. What's unsettling is how quietly this happens. There's no clear moment where you think something is wrong. Instead, it shows up as little things, struggling to recall details of a recent conversation, needing more reminders, feeling less mentally sharp than you used to, even though you're still active and engaged. So let me ask you something, honestly. How long have you been taking this medication? Now we're moving into number 5, and this is where the risk begins to climb more sharply. Number 5 represents a clear escalation point. The statistics here are stronger, the evidence more direct, and the impact on daily life becomes harder to ignore over time. Studies involving brain imaging including MRI scans conducted on U.S. seniors, have shown that people taking this category of medication long-term experience structural changes in areas responsible for planning, recall, and judgment. These aren't abstract skills. These are the abilities you rely on to manage finances, follow complex conversations, drive confidently, and make sound decisions. What makes this particularly concerning is how the decline is framed by many people as normal aging. The changes are slow, unnoticed, easy to excuse, but when researchers compared imaging results and cognitive testing over several years, the difference was clear. This isn't just about forgetting a word now and then, it's about a gradual narrowing of mental clarity, less confidence in decision making, slower processing, reduced ability to plan ahead. And because it happens gradually, many people don't realize what's being lost until it's already well underway. And here's a hard truth. Some people watching right now will choose to stay uninformed, not because they don't care, but because this topic feels uncomfortable, because it challenges routines they've had for years. But if you value staying sharp for your family, for your partner, your children, your grandchildren, ever, Young Seniors exists for you. This channel is here to help you protect the part of yourself that allows you to stay independent and present. And if you're choosing not to subscribe, that's your decision. But tell us why in the comments. We genuinely want to understand what's holding you back. Let's pause for just a moment. Quick check-in. Are you recognizing any of these medications? Take a second and comment yes if you've taken one of them, or no if you haven't. We're actively reading responses, and you'll see just how many others are realizing they're not alone in this. And stay with me, because what comes next is even more important. And now we move to number 4. This one is often prescribed with good intentions. It's commonly given for heart rhythm issues, for sleep problems, or for anxiety, especially when doctors want to help you feel calmer or more comfortable day to day. It's widely trusted by seniors in places like Connecticut, New Jersey, and California, where access to specialists is high and long-term care is carefully managed. Many people taking this medication feel reassured because it's been around for a long time and is often described as well understood or standard treatment, and that trust makes sense. But here's what many seniors are never told. This medication works by slowing certain signals in the body. That's how it helps calm the heart, reduce anxious feelings, or make sleep come easier. But those same calming effects don't stop at the body. They also affect the brain. Over time, these medications can slow down communication between brain cells. Not enough to cause immediate concern, not enough to trigger alarms, just enough to subtly reduce mental speed, reaction time, and clarity. U.S. clinical trials that followed older adults over several years found that seniors taking these medications experienced more cognitive slowing compared to peers on different treatments. Tasks that required quick thinking, multitasking, or sustained attention became harder. Processing information took longer. Mental sharpness dulled just enough to be noticeable, but not obvious. What's important to understand is that not all medications used for heart health, sleep, or anxiety behave this way. Some appear to have far fewer cognitive side effects. The issue isn't treatment itself, it's which treatment is chosen and whether the brain is being considered as carefully as the rest of the body. And that brings us to number 3. This is where the conversation becomes more serious. Number 3 has been directly linked to physical changes in the brain itself, not just slowed thinking, not just memory lapses, actual structural impact. Advanced imaging techniques, MRI scans and PET scans, have allowed researchers to see what's happening beneath the surface. And what they've found is unsettling. Seniors taking this category of medication long term showed measurable brain shrinkage in areas responsible for memory, communication, and higher level thinking. The connections between neurons, the pathways your brain uses to send messages, became less efficient. Signals didn't travel as smoothly, communication weakened, and unlike earlier medications on this list, the timeline here is much faster. We're not talking about changes that take decades. In some cases, noticeable decline appeared within months, not years, months. Researchers observed reduced neural communication and loss of brain volume at a pace that couldn't be explained by normal aging alone. The difference was clear when compared side by side with seniors of the same age who weren't exposed to these medications. This kind of change affects how you think, how you remember, and how you interact with the world. It can quietly erode confidence, make complex tasks feel overwhelming, turn once familiar routines into sources of frustration. And here's why this moment matters. Staying subscribed means staying informed before damage becomes permanent. This information isn't meant to alarm you, it's meant to reach you in time. Unsubscribed viewers often comment later, wishing they had paid attention sooner, wishing they had known what questions to ask before subtle changes became harder to reverse. Your brain deserves the same level of protection as your heart, your joints, or your eyesight. And we're not done yet. What's coming next is even more critical. And now we reach number 2. This medication is often used for serious conditions, situations where doctors feel they need something strong, something that works quickly, something that can control symptoms when other options haven't helped enough. Because of that, many seniors assume the benefits must outweigh any risks. And in the short term, these medications can feel helpful. They may reduce distress, calm agitation, control difficult symptoms. For some people, they feel like a lifeline during a challenging period. But here's what's deeply concerning. Research shows that this class of medication is associated with rapid cognitive acceleration, a faster decline in thinking and memory compared to normal aging. Not subtle, not gradual over decades, but noticeably faster over a relatively short period of time. U.S. studies following older adults have found that seniors taking these medications experience sharper drops in memory, attention, and reasoning than those with similar health conditions who were not taking them. In some cases, the decline was dramatic enough to interfere with daily independence. And it doesn't stop there. These medications have also been linked to higher rates of severe impairment and increased mortality among older adults. That means not just a decline in thinking, but a greater likelihood of serious complications overall. Researchers believe this is because these drugs affect multiple systems at once: the brain, the nervous system, and the body's ability to regulate itself under stress. When you look at the U.S. senior population as a whole, the numbers are sobering. Hundreds of thousands of older adults are prescribed these medications every year. Many of them are over 65. Many are living independently at the time treatment begins, and many are never fully informed about the long-term cognitive risks. What makes this especially troubling is that these medications are sometimes continued far longer than originally intended. What starts as a short-term solution quietly becomes a long-term routine. And so I want to ask you something, not to alarm you, but to be honest with you. Did anyone ever explain this risk to you? Did anyone sit down and clearly say, this medication may affect your thinking, your memory, or your long-term brain health? For many seniors, the answer is no. Not because doctors don't care, but because the system often focuses on immediate symptoms, not long-term cognitive consequences. And once again, the brain is left out of the conversation. Take a moment and reflect on that. Because what comes next, number 1, isn't about a single medication at all. It's about something even more common and even more overlooked. And now we arrive at number 1. This is the most important one to understand because it isn't about a single pill. It's about combinations, multiple prescriptions, taken together day after day, often without anyone ever looking at the full picture. This happens more often than people realize, especially among affluent seniors who have access to excellent health care. You might have a cardiologist in New York, a primary care doctor in Florida, a specialist in California, maybe even a concierge physician. Each one is skilled, each one means well, but each one is focused on their specific area. What's often missing is coordination. One doctor prescribes something for sleep, another adds a medication for bladder control or mood, another suggests something for allergies or anxiety. None of them are trying to cause harm, but the combined effect on the brain can be powerful and dangerous. Across the United States, nationwide data shows that a significant percentage of seniors over 60 are taking multiple medications that affect the same brain systems. Many of these drugs quietly overlap in how they influence memory, attention, and neural communication. When researchers looked at seniors taking two, three, or more of these medications together, the risk wasn't just additive, it was cumulative. Each additional drug increased the burden on the brain. Memory decline accelerated, cognitive resilience weakened. What makes this especially alarming is what happens after stopping. In multiple long-term U.S. studies, seniors who discontinued these combinations did not always return to their previous level of cognitive function. Some improvements were seen in alertness or processing speed, but deeper memory deficits often persisted. That means the damage didn't fully reverse. The brain changes remained. This is why number one isn't a single medication. It's the silent stacking of prescriptions over time. It's the assumption that if each drug is acceptable on its own, the combination must be safe. And for the brain, that assumption doesn't always hold. This pattern is especially common among seniors who are proactive about their health, those who see specialists regularly, follow instructions carefully, and trust the system. Ironically, the very people trying to do everything right are sometimes at the highest risk of cumulative cognitive effects. And this is where responsibility comes in. Choosing not to subscribe doesn't stop this information from being important. It doesn't make these risks disappear. It simply means you may miss future conversations that could help you ask better questions and protect your independence. If protecting your independence matters, your ability to think clearly, make decisions confidently, and remain in control of your life, this channel was created for you. And if you're watching right now and choosing not to subscribe, that's entirely your choice. But we invite you to tell us why in the comments. What's holding you back? What concerns do you have? Those conversations matter, and they help shape what we share next. Because staying informed isn't about fear, it's about awareness, it's about asking the right questions, and it's about giving your brain the same care and respect you give the rest of your health. What's important to understand now is the scale of this issue. This isn't rare. This isn't limited to a small group of people. This affects millions of Americans, and especially seniors over 60 who are doing their best to stay healthy, active, and independent. Every day, across the country, older adults are taking medications exactly as prescribed. They're following instructions. They're trusting the process. And many have no idea that certain combinations or long-term use may be quietly increasing their risk of cognitive decline. That's why this conversation matters so much, because awareness is prevention. When you know what questions to ask, when you understand how medications can affect the brain, you create the opportunity to protect yourself before harm occurs. Silence, on the other hand, carries risk. What we don't talk about doesn't stop happening. It just happens unnoticed. And that's something none of us can afford when it comes to our minds. Now, I want to be very clear about something. You should never stop taking any medication without consulting your doctor. Stopping suddenly can be dangerous, and these medications are often prescribed for serious, valid reasons. This is not about panic, it's about partnership. It's about scheduling a medication review, sitting down with your doctor or pharmacist and saying, let's look at everything together. Asking how each medication may affect your brain. Asking whether there are alternatives with fewer cognitive side effects. asking questions you may never have been encouraged to ask before. You have every right to advocate for your brain health, your memory, your clarity, your independence. And that's why this channel exists. Ever Young Seniors exists to protect minds before it's too late. Not with fear, but with honest conversations, evidence-based awareness, and respect for the life experience you bring with you. If you're watching right now but choosing not to subscribe, tell us why in the comments. We genuinely want to understand. Your perspective matters, and those conversations help shape what this community becomes. And if this video resonated with you, if it made you pause, reflect, or think about your own medications, share your experience in the comments. We read them, we learn from them, and many viewers find comfort in realizing they're not alone. To those of you who are already part of this community, thank you. Your trust means more than you know. Your future clarity is worth staying informed, and your mind is worth protecting.